Left versus right, us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome everyone to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. We're live here on WYSL today. I won't be able to take phone calls, but you can comment online if you're listening on Facebook, on A Free Solution, the YouTube page, or on any of the Kevin Wilson pages. Got it streaming out there too. Leave your comments. We have a guest today, Democratic City Council member Jose Pio. Jose, welcome to the show, sir. Welcome back.
Kevin, how you doing, brother? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while. You haven't been on the show since we used to call it Radio Free New York way back in the day.
Hey, whenever you guys need me back on, you let me know. I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So you represent the northwest side of the city of Rochester. So that's what, Charlotte, Maplewood neighborhood. I'm trying to remember how far down that goes. So would you mind?
Yeah, I go from Beach Avenue to 490. Essentially, I got the most diverse community and district in the city of Rochester, and the longest.
Yeah, no, it's a huge district, and quite a few different communities who live in that district. And I brought you on today to mostly talk about the kind of ATV and dirt bike issue, which is interesting. To give folks some context for that, this is something that's happening in cities kind of across the country, but in Rochester, if you live in the city proper, you see dirt bikes and ATVs screaming down the street all the time, all hours of the night, and it's become quite an issue. So I brought you on to talk about that. We can talk about some of the other issues and challenges with the city of Rochester and what some of your thoughts are on that as well. But first, let's give our listeners a little bit of context to that issue and what's going on there. If you're living in the city of Rochester or your district specifically, what are your constituents seeing?
Well, it's seeing and hearing, brother. It's so much.
Yes.
It's so much that's happening. The illegal vehicles on our roads, the way they're driving on the roads, whether they're doing wheelies or jumping up on the sidewalks, going on people's yards, going 100 miles down the road, not wearing helmets, young kids on these things, going through red lights, stopping traffic, doing donuts in the middle of a intersection. It's complete and utter anarchy out there, and it happens all night, especially on a nice day like today. I can guarantee we're going to have issues today, and that's the sad part. And when we know, when the weather gets nice and we're all excited to be outside, we just know what's about to happen, and that's the worst part of it all.
Yeah, right. Folks are just trying to, go out, have a good time. Even on, my side of the city, I live in the North Winton Village side. My house is right next to a park. And sometimes at 10 o'clock, people will tear through an ATVs, and then suddenly the grass is messed up. I have a newborn baby at home, so the baby can wake up, and it disturbs neighbors. And if it's happening during the day, too, you're just out there trying to enjoy, a picnic or hang out with your family, and suddenly these folks are coming through and, riding through on noisy vehicles and disrupting your experience.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have too many restaurants and bars that are in Rochester area that you can sit outside and enjoy the nice, beautiful weather. There's not too many of them out there. And when you're out there just trying to enjoy a good time with your family, I mean, again, I have the beach right down the street from me, and you're just trying to get some ice cream at Abbott's, trying to have a drink over at Windjammers, enjoying your time at Whiskey River, wherever it may be. You're just inundated with this huge line of, again, just I can't explain it, but other than complete anarchy. We're talking 50-plus illegal vehicles streaming down the street. Like, we get it. You want to have fun. We get that you want to have the freedom of riding these things. But there's a lot of motorcyclists out there who enjoy their freedom while also being careful, being safe, and riding legally. That's the big part. Riding it legally, you do what you want, but man, these kids are just, they're going up on the sidewalks, getting people off their chairs, almost running over little kids. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a little bit, and to kind of your point, I get the freedom aspect of it, right? Especially you're a young man or woman, and you're like, I got this vehicle. It's hard for me to to ride it many places. I want to have a good time, but you got to think about how your actions impact the quality of life of others, right? Like if you're
Exactly.
disrupting their experience or you're putting them in danger, then that's different.
Exactly. No, you're
And
spot
so,
on. You have to care about others. If we don't care about other people, then there is no difference between us and any animal that you see on the road. There, we need to understand that there is a concept when you live in a society that you have to care about others. It's not always all about yourself.
exactly. So, with that in mind, again, I tend towards the libertarian side, and I'm like, man, we should kind of just let people do their thing. But if you're imposing a cost on others, that's a problem. So, how do we start to address this issue?
Oh, that's a perfect segue to what a lot of people have brought up is, well, why doesn't the city just create a dirt track for these kids to go out there and do their thing? I completely understand why one would think that the city can just go out and dig up some dirt and allow these guys and gals to go crazy on this dirt track. I get it,
City
but that's not
Councilwoman
reality.
Mary Lupian had proposed that, I think.
Yeah, I love
No,
Mary.
you weren't gonna name names. No, she's my city councilwoman, and there are a lot of things I like about her. This one I'm like, I don't know. I would be curious how that would work, and we could talk about like whether or not that's a realistic idea.
Right. Well, let's take a look at the skate park. The city itself is not paying for the skate park. They had a private organization that raised millions, tens of millions of dollars to build this skate park in the city. We just worked in collaboration with them. So there is absolutely nothing stopping any biker organization to come out here and say, hey, we will work with the city to build a dirt track here in the city, and that way all you can ride your ATVs and dirt bikes legally. That is how a free society works. That is how we live in a place where we can allow the freedom to take place and not be encumbered by a government that wants to impose all these fees on us. But then again, how do we get these vehicles to the dirt track? Then you have to talk about, okay, well, we have to store it there, right? You have to pay fees for storage. Now we're saying, well, we can't charge fees because we're a poor society. Well, at a certain point, we have to take an understanding that we are purchasing these vehicles. It is our duty to pay for the upkeep for it, right? And that includes storage. That includes, getting a ticket or a license plate on there. If you're going to be riding on the streets. If not, then that's fine. Put it on a trailer and take it to where you need to go to. But that won't happen. They will ride it on the street to these dirt tracks, and you're still performing an illegal action.
Yeah, right. That's something important to keep in mind too, right? Like if you're going to make the investment to get one of these vehicles, right? Like you have a responsibility to make sure you're doing the other things associated with it to make sure that you can store it appropriately, transport it appropriately to areas where you can actually ride, and all the other upkeep, including in your case, in some cases, you need licensing for that, right? And so, can you explain like what people actually need real briefly? Like if you're
Well, the problem with, let's say, the dirt bikes, right? The dirt bikes are not made for road. They are made for dirt. So they don't have the proper tires for the road, which I understand. People can ride around on their donuts all they want on a vehicle, but at a certain point, it's going to break down. You're going to bust an axle. So let's be smart about it. If you're going to ride a dirt bike, get the proper wheels for the road, the gravel, unless you're going to take it to the dirt. But on top of that, they don't have headlights on a lot of these. They don't have tail lights, and they're not wearing helmets. Like I'm all for, look, the last thing I want to do is wear a helmet when I'm riding my bike. So I get it. And the same thing with motorcycles. Me personally, I don't care if you wear a helmet or not. Me personally, because that's you taking your own accountability. If you don't think a helmet's going to be safe for you and you don't care about what happens if you were to fall, that's completely on you. But we do have the law in place in New York State. You have to wear the helmet. So in this case, for a dirt bike, you have to wear a helmet, and you have to have headlights, and you have to have turn signals. Like, these are things that are already in place that keep not only you safe, but the rest of us safe, because we don't know when you're going to turn. We don't know. Our problem is taking over the roads. I have no idea if I'm about to switch into another lane. And I've done this where I go into another lane, and I didn't know there was a motorcycle going 80 miles an hour down the road, and I almost knocked them over. I didn't know that because I didn't hear it in time until they were right next to me, and I swerved back into my lane. And then at night, you have all these different dirt bikes and ATVs with no lights on them, and it's like, how do you expect to not get hit? And that's the part of it is I understand that you want to have the take it upon yourself. This is my own body. It's my own choice. If I want to put myself at risk, it's up to me. I get that. But you don't understand the mental aspect of a young driver who runs over a dirt bike or hits an ATV, and that causes someone to die. That's going to impact somebody else. And when you're impacting another life, that's where the problem comes into play.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, and it's terrifying being in that situation. Again, if you drive around in the city enough at night, like you'll eventually run into it where, someone on a dirt bike, going 30 miles an hour, going the speed limit down the road, and they try to pass you, in the dark with no lights on, and you're like, what just happened? If I
or
moved
running through
any
a red
other
light.
way. Yeah,
running through a red light. They do it all the time. Can you imagine? You're just traveling along, you see the green light, you go, and you hit a little kid that's on a dirt bike. Like, I would be devastated. And not only would I be devastated, but since I'm a city councilman, and a lot of people don't like me anyways, like they will go after me because I somehow didn't see this kid on a dirt bike, and because he happened to be, whatever he may be, now I am the target of all these people, even though that person was at wrong.
Yeah, so when we come back from break, we'll talk about what we do next about this. What are some of the actual solutions, and how do we figure out how to address this issue so we can have a community that has the ability to use these vehicles, but do so in a safe manner and with respecting the rights of their neighbors. All right, so thanks again. We're joined by Democratic State Councilperson Jose Pio, who is representing the Northwest District of Rochester. We'll be back in just a few minutes on A Free Solution.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
When you've been seriously injured in a car crash, you need a lawyer who knows how to beat the big insurance companies. Call me and I'll take them on so you can focus on your health and family.
Car crash, call Salino. Salino, call Salino. 888-2020.
Main Street, Rochester.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilshire, host today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here live on WYSL. I can't take phone calls today, but you can leave your comments if you have any questions for our guests or for me. Leave them in the comments at the Free Solution Facebook page or the Kevin Wilson Facebook page or the Free Solution YouTube channel. And also shout out down the line to our friends listening over at WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot down in the Southern Tier. Appreciate you all listening too. And we're talking about dirt bikes, ATVs, and other kind of loud, disruptive vehicles that are driving around city streets. It's not just a Rochester problem, but we are talking today with a Rochester City Councilman, Jose Pio, who is talking about ways to address this issue. So now that we've kind of outlined the problem, what do we do about it?
Okay, so there's, that's what I love about bringing up problems is talking about solutions. One is, I think that's a multifaceted approach. Number one, we have to get the parents to understand how illegal and how dangerous this is. The parents have to know this, right? They have to speak up. I'm sure that there's so many people that say the police should be telling these kids, should be educating children on the issues with this. It's not the police instruct your children on what is right and what is wrong. It is the parent's job. It's the police officer's job to enforce the law. There needs enforcement, right? So at this point, we are not allowed to chase after these ATVs. But what we are allowed to do is catch them when they're parked somewhere, maybe when they are at a gas station or when they are located or when they pull into their driveway at home, because usually they tend to congregate somewhere, like a gas station. And that's where we can have a portal where neighbors can say, I see a gaggle of them at this location, at this, gas station, or I see a bunch of people, teaming up at the house that's across the street from me at this address. And that gives the police an actual physical address for where they can go and a timeline of where they're going as well. We need the police to be able to catch them at some point, because these illegal vehicles need to be taken off our streets. It doesn't matter if it's like my Jeep out here. If I didn't have a registration on it, if I didn't have a license to drive it and I had no insurance on it, my car would be towed immediately. Like, there's no questions asked. They're not going to allow me to drive it back home. They're going to tow it. That's the same exact thing that should happen with these ATVs and dirt bikes. It needs to be towed away. Get it out of their possession until they're able to show that they can be grown adults and drive things in a legal way. So they have to have their license. They have to register the vehicle, and it has to be road safe. Once they can prove that, they can pay the fine for the illegal activity that they did, because that's how we hold people accountable in our culture, is to fine them, because it tends to hurt them in a way where it's not punitive to their body, but punitive to their wallets, right? So that's the way we fine them. We get some revenue out of it, because we need some revenue in the city as well. And it you would hope that it prevents them. I don't want to get a $650 fine just for joyriding on an ATV, and then I have to pay for this vehicle to get registered, licensed, insured, get the proper lights on it, get the proper helmet, get the proper wheels for it. These are all things cost money. And when you can show that you've got those appropriate things in place, then you can get the vehicle out of impound, and that's going to be another $2,350, I would say, $2,500. Let's keep it even there. We need to hit them where it hurts. If you were to hit me where it hurts, I don't want to spend $3,000 to joyride on an ATV dirt bike because I want to have this freedom or this sense of freedom, right? I don't want to pay that. I don't want to have the police show up to my house where I live with my mom, and my mom's going to be embarrassed, with her neighbors watching, that the sirens are going and the police are showing up to take your son's vehicle away from him because he can't, be a good child. Those are the ways we catch them. Those are the ways that we hold people accountable for their illegal actions. It's not, hey, we got to let them go. They're just having a little fun. We just need to educate them on it. They're educated. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And they're taking full advantage of the society we're in now, where we don't want police involvement in our children's lives. Okay, that's fine, but then it lays on the parents to take care of that, and that's not happening either. So there's
Right.
just so many things that need to be done. I can talk forever on this, but it needs to hit them in the wallet, and we need to be able to find them where they're congregating and where they're stopping, because we can't chase them.
So you threw out a bunch there, and I'm gonna kind of pick apart a few of these things. And,
Please
and
do.
first, I'm gonna read a comment too, from someone who says he's one of your constituents. He's named Scott. He said, Mr. Pio is my councilman in this issue and others. I finally feel after 25 years my council rep is actually representing me and not council's agenda. Thank you, Mr. Pio. So
I got
Nice.
you, Scott. I got your back. Trust me.
nice comment for you there. And then Jericho asked, have you identified reasons why people are using these vehicles in streets? Is it because they're racing or just screwing around, or are they actually using it as the only mode of transportation? Just curious.
If it's their only mode of transportation, why are they doing it in groups of 50? Right? That's not the reason. They're not using it to go to work. If you're using it to go to work, you can get an electrical bicycle, or I have an electric scooter. If I wanted to go to work on a Joyride Freedom where I can feel the wind through my hair, I can get an electric bike. I can get an electric scooter. If you're joyriding with a bunch of young kids in a group of 50 going in and out of traffic, that's not taking anybody to work. Let's not make excuses for people here. All right, I'm done making excuses or even hearing excuses in this city. This city is in complete upheaval. I get it. People they don't want the police involvement. I get it. I'd rather not to have the police involved either. But at this point, they are our only options. You're not going to send a mental health expert to go talk to these kids, right? It's the police. They have to impound the vehicle.
Yeah, right. I
So
mean,
if there's another option, I would love to have it. If there's, okay, we can send, this vehicle with an unarmed, unlicensed, unregistered cop that you don't see the badge and all that stuff, fine. I don't care, as long as we get it off the road.
right. Like at the end, you can kind of work backward from like where these problems are originating. But at the end of the day, right? Like if someone is, maybe you could even say you can give them warnings. And I heard a discussion session on this issue where the police chief was saying like, well, you give people warnings, but how much time do you give between warnings and when you start actually taking action, because they don't respond to those. Like if they don't care, and they keep driving through, neighbors' yards or almost hitting people or whatever. At the end of the day, like sometime you have to do something about it, right? And
Exactly.
I'll say something about the parent situation too, because Malik Evans made a similar point. It's like, well, how do we talk to our neighbors and parents and other folks in the community about how do we tell them that they need to be responsible for their kids or friends, to say, you need to be safe, you need to respect the rights of others, and if you're going to engage in this type of behavior, let's at least do it responsibly. And let's
Right.
talk about ways to do that responsibly and safely, and that has a cost to it for sure. So, how do we start with that?
Well, maybe we start finding the parents. And the problem is, see, this is the other issue, and I know this is part of the problem too. I'm sure that, number one, there's single-parent households where the single parent is working all day, and they probably don't know that their child is involved in these types of actions. I'm sure that is part of it as well, because we live in a society right now where we are overworked, right? We have to pay for our living expenses, and we're into COVID, and there's just a whole lot going on. And these parents can't just sit at home all day. They have to go to work. So I understand that dilemma, but I feel as though that's not the overall truth. I truly feel that these kids were raised by kids, right? These parents had them at a very young age, and maybe they were not held accountable for their actions, and nor were their parents held accountable for their actions. And therefore, it's a generation after generation of not being held accountable for your actions, and now we have what we have. But my child's 13 years old. He knows there is no way he is taking the key off that keychain, going to the garage, unlocking it, taking his bicycle out, and driving on the street.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for joining us, Council Member Jose Pio. Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
As long as you call me Councilman instead of Council Member, please.
Councilman, you got it. Whatever you prefer. All right. So thanks again for joining us, sir. And we'll be back with more from A Free Solution in a few minutes.
Dan Bongino Show, coming May 24th. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mainly clear skies, still a bit cool. We'll drop back into the 40s, but not as cold as it has been recently. Saturday, a good-looking day. Will start sunny and cloudy, but stay dry. Temps into the 60s. Saturday night, mainly cloudy. Rain after midnight. Showers Sunday, especially in the morning. Back into the 50s. I'm Rich Cadelia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations. Spring's the thing at Victor Chevrolet, where it's easy to save and fun to drive your brand new Chevy. Get outside in the spring breezes in your 2021 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive LS. Lease it for just $229 a month for 39 months. Or enjoy the versatility of a tough and roomy 2021 Trailblazer LS front-wheel drive. Lease for only $89 a month for 39 months. Or check out the 2021 Chevy Trax LS front-wheel drive, just $99 a month for 36 months. Lease the 2021 Chevy Bolt LT for $149 a month for 36 months. Or maybe you'd like to buy a 2019 Chevy Trax LT for just $16,990. MSRP is $26,645. So you can save almost $8,000 on this previous loaner vehicle. All these deals include factory rebates, incentives, and discounts. 10,000 miles per year, $2,500 cash or trade, first payment, tax, acquisition, and DMV fees due at signing for all leases. Tier 1 credit approval required. All deals end 4/30/2021. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit victorchevrolet.com.
Hey, grab a pen. I'm going to give you a phone number I hope you never have to call. The number for attorney Christopher Johnson. Chris handles car and motorcycle accident cases and DWIs and serious personal injury cases. So if there's an accident or anything else, this is the number you want in your glove compartment. You ready? Here's the number, 585-415-3803. 415-3803. You'll want that handy because suddenly, at that time, you'll be getting lots of, quote, advice. With this number in hand, you know you'll have experience on your side and integrity and individual attention to your case. So forget the singing jingle phone numbers, the actors playing ex-clients bragging about their $1 million settlements. Just remember the number for Christopher Johnson, attorney. We hope you never have to call. 585-415-3803. 415-3803. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson, attorney, personal injury, car or motorcycle accidents, DWI defense. Good to know.
For the senior in your family, consider Alpine Manor, founded in 1971 by owner Tim Kinsella, nestled in the picturesque rolling hills east of 390 in Livingston County, just 20 minutes from Rochester. At Alpine Manor, their pride is personalized care for seniors who are not yet ready for a nursing home. If your senior shows symptoms of confusion, forgetfulness, or memory loss, Alpine Manor could provide an excellent option. There are supervised activities and medications, full laundry and housekeeping services, 3 dietary-approved home-cooked meals, and a bedtime snack, all provided in immaculate surroundings. Now, visitors are always welcome at Alpine Manor with an appointment. All staff and residents have received both doses of COVID vaccine. Be confident that your loved one is safe and secure, and you'll be able to visit and connect. Keep the golden years carefree years at Alpine Manor, New York State Health Department licensed. Call 346-5880. That's 346-5880 for a no-obligation tour or information, or visit alpinemanor.com.
What does it mean to bank locally with Tompkins? It means keeping your money in your community with a team of neighbors to guide you through big decisions and milestones. Plus all the convenience of our mobile app, where you can manage your account, deposit checks remotely, send money to family and friends, even turn your card off if it gets misplaced, then back on when you find it. Ready to bank locally with the team at Tompkins? Visit Tompkins Bank of Castile online or at a branch to get started. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. We're live here on WYSL. I cannot take phone calls today, but I can take your comments online. So if you are listening on Facebook or on YouTube, leave your comments and I will get to them. And shout out down the line to our friends over at WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot down in the Southern Tier. Appreciate you being here. We're here with Rochester City Councilman Jose Pio. Jose, thanks for sticking with us.
Absolutely.
I'll give you your preferred title. My apologies for messing it up.
No apologies. I say it all the time on city council, and they still call me council member. I'm like, will you please stop that?
Councilman, yeah, whatever you prefer. That's proper, right? So, we're talking about kind of where this has come from. Now, I'm gonna read another comment, and we can kind of talk about this and talk about, kind of, again, how do we work backwards from this? Because, I come from a point where, yeah, I'd rather police not deal with this stuff. I get how that can create some problems, but okay, if we don't want police to deal with this, and, I do think police are kind of expected to solve too many problems. So
right.
what do we do instead? And I'll read a comment from Garrett who says that the irresponsible kids are the fruit of progressive welfare nanny state that hinders emotional and intellectual responsibility being instilled in our culture. And, I think I'll simplify that a bit, Garrett, and just say, okay. Yeah, a lot of people expect the government to come in and solve problems that exist within communities, right? And we've kind of moved away from how do we figure out as neighbors, parents, mentors, and other, stakeholders in the community, how do we figure out how to solve problems without using the heavy-handed nature of the police, right? And so we talked about that a little bit. And thinking about this situation too, I can't help but wonder, did we see a big uptick in this because of COVID too, because of lockdowns? And are we going to? Yeah. So go ahead, comment on any of those things.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of government taking their hands off of things and letting the free markets handle themselves, right? So in this case, again, I've said it before earlier, but there's nothing stopping. Let's say me, I love my Jeep Wrangler out here. There's nothing stopping me from going to the city saying, hey, I have a group of 50 Jeep Wrangler fans. We want a dirt path that we can go off the road and go do some crazy stuff on, right? We need some boulders. We need this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. The city will say, we'll sell you this land for this amount. We will keep the taxes low so that we don't have to cost so much. And, you have to do the upkeep. You have to put the insurance on there. You have to do everything yourself. But we'll be off to the side. We'll help you at least with the cost of land and taxes. Cool. That's exactly how it should work with these ATVs and dirt bikes. No one is saying anything about that except for me. When these people say, hey, the government should go out there and do this, that, and the other. No, we should not. The last thing that the government should ever be doing is putting their hands into our pockets and trying to do some free enterprise stuff out there. Not at all. And there's no way people out there in the city would say, oh, I'll gladly give up some of my tax money, or you can gladly, raise my taxes on my home in order to pay for these ATVs and dirt bikes to go have some fun off the road. Now, if you phrase it a little differently and say, hey, we're gonna increase taxes by $1, and that's how we're going to combat this issue. Maybe at that point.
Oh, you're spinning it now. That's how they always get us. Oh, it's just 50 cents. It's just $1. Right. That adds
that's
up
not what I want.
Over time, Councilman.
Right. I don't want that. I'm saying go out there and do it yourself. I can go do that. I guarantee there's plenty of people out there with enough money to buy an ATV and dirt bike and all these toys. They can pool their money together and go buy some land and talk to the city and say, hey, we're going to offer you $2,000 for this plot of land, and we're going to do everything ourselves. We just need the equipment, and we can hire people, and we can do this and the other. There's nothing stopping someone from doing that. No one wants to take that on. No one wants the self-accountability to do that.
Right. I mean, that's a great opportunity for a local nonprofit or just, interested people to go out and make a great space that would solve a lot of issues. So that's I think a good approach that hopefully someone takes you up on. And I want to shift to kind of a related part of this is we talked about the fact that people are kind of jumping up on sidewalks and cutting through yards, and I know the Rochester Police Department is looking into using or is using drones to kind of track this. I'm kind of a civil liberties minded person. How do we balance that? And is City Council going to have any role in making sure that the rights of people who are having vehicles driven through the yard are also protected?
Oh, that's great, and that's something that I actually brought up as well. Was I would hate to have to get to the point where we use AI and technology and drones, but at a certain point, if it's on a public road or a public park, that is something that we can utilize because you're in a public space. It is not on your it's not on your private property. So to me, I'm perfectly okay with. Last year we had two guys that did a shooting. They were being chased by the cops. They ran through Turning Point Park, and we had a search for these guys because they had killed somebody. We had helicopters out there searching, yada, yada, yada. Had we had a drone at that point with a heat signal on it, which I've seen in action myself, it would have cost the taxpayers way less money. We would have found them immediately without any kind of hassle because it wouldn't have taken hours, and they got away. They eventually got away. With that drone, there are so many different options we can do. There's also the issue with the gunshot spotters. The gunshot spotter goes off. It tells you the direction in which the gunshot was shot, but that's all it tells you. That's all you can do. Now, if we had that in combination with the drone, we could send that drone up in the air. That thing has 150, 180x optical zoom, and it can see miles away. We throw that drone up in the air. We throw it down a city road. We can get to that shot spotter within a few minutes. If it's a cop car, they have to go through traffic. They have to go on the roads. They have to go through intersections. It takes them 10, 15 minutes before they get to a gunshot, and it's already gone. The perpetrator's already gone. So there's so many options that are available when it comes to a drone. But again, I'm with you on the civil liberties part. We cannot record on personal property. We can't use it against them, but we can follow on city roads. And I think that's the same thing with the red light cameras. I know a lot of people are against them, but as we can see now, we've had so many issues since we took away the red light cameras. And when I brought up these technology advances and other cities are using them, they looked at me like I was crazy. They thought I was talking about RoboCop when I was talking about AI. And I said, that's not what I'm talking about. I get you guys are laughing about this, but other cities are doing it. Their crime has dropped. Again, if we are not going to talk about this, we need to talk about legislation to at least prohibit or limit the use of recording devices on people in our city. And they just disregarded me. They said it was racist in nature. And I was like, what do you? And I couldn't take that conversation anymore, and I hung up the Zoom. I couldn't take it.
Oh boy, and I do want to talk about that, and I want to talk about a post you made this morning. But as we're wrapping up this segment, I'll throw this out there to my listeners too. Is a good civil liberties trade-off if instead of having the fixed cameras, which there are cameras around the city that just like watch areas, is it better to use ShotSpotter in combination with drones that are deployed for specific situations? Is that an acceptable trade-off for being able to respond quickly to situations? Because right now, you have the issue of police officers can't get to places quick enough, and then a constant surveillance understandably creeps people out. I don't like that either. It creeped me out when I moved to the city, almost 10 years ago now. But I'll throw that out to my listeners. Is that an acceptable compromise, using drones only in public spaces and then creating kind of a list of appropriate uses, as the councilman has kind of proposed, is, let's make sure we protect the rights of the city residents while also being able to leverage this technology to catch the actual bad guys?
That's a great question.
Yeah. So I'm throwing it out to listeners too, and anyone listening in the city of Rochester. If you have thoughts on this, I'm sure you can send those over to the councilman, or send me an email. Contact at afreesolution.com, and maybe we'll bring it up on a future show. And so we're running out of time in this segment though. But Councilman, do you have another 15 minutes to spend with us?
Hey, this is a great conversation, man. Let's keep going.
All right, excellent. Keep going. All right, so when we come back, we'll continue talking with Councilman Jose Pio, and we're talking about issues and say we're mostly talking about the dirt bikes and ATVs and stuff, but kind of moved over to some of the bigger issues as well for the last segment. Leave your comments online. Let us know what you think. Thanks again for joining us on Free Solution. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. We're joined by Democratic City Councilman Jose Pio, who's been talking to us about, some quality of life issues in the city of Rochester, talking about the dirt bikes and ATVs and other stuff, and, how we as a society address that. And I did throw out that question. I got a bunch of comments from Will, but the summary is drones will never be used in a malicious way. Will does not trust that our civil liberties can be adequately protected with this new technology. So we'll have to see what comes of this, because I do want to get to I want to get to your Facebook post, and I'm just gonna quote it because I think my listeners will find it interesting.
Sure.
Councilman Pio, is that okay?
Go ahead. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you said this morning, dear liberal left, stop thinking you can force me to believe what you want by your cyberbullying. It won't work. Not everyone, especially in more moderate Northwest Rochester, believes that what you believe, thank God. And it's about time we had strong representation here who can proudly stand up for those who have been ostracized, forced to move out of the city, or been attacked simply because their religious and moral beliefs. I'm a strong and proud Latino who can cross all borders of the racial spectrum and political lines because I do not blame anything on the color of my skin, but give all credit to the content of my character. Wrong guy, move along now. So Were you in a mood this morning? Was something strike a nerve?
It's just it's not a nerve. It's just I had to deal with it for the past year, where it seems as if you don't believe or fall in line with this ideology that are coming from people who either don't even live in a city or don't live in the Northwest, and they trying to force you and say, oh, we're going to not vote for you next time, or you lost my vote, blah, blah, blah. Like, it is okay for someone to disagree with you. Like, it blows my mind that people will literally fight you. They will literally come after your job. They will literally come after your livelihood because you don't agree with them, because you were raised differently than them. It blows my mind the society in which we live in today, where they don't see that as fascism, but they say you, who's trying to increase the quality of life in the city, they see that as fascist. It blows my mind. So yeah, maybe I was feeling a little something this morning, but it's an everyday thing. I'm tired of listening about it. I just had way too many people who were trying to share some things about me, and I'm just like, I'm done with that. I'm not one of those guys who's gonna bow to this. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen last year. It's not happening this year. I'm coming out stronger than I did last year. Definitely coming out stronger than I did last year, because it's not going to happen. Not in my city. Definitely not in the Northwest Rochester.
Yeah, and I do see you catching a lot of flack on social media. I'll see that kind of from your typical liberal sources.
The same mob who says that they are inclusive. I am a Latino man who says white people are not oppressing me. That is ridiculous to think that a white man or a white woman is oppressing Jose Pio. No. I was homeless 8 years ago. I came up by myself. I had some help by my family because I was living on their couch. But I did it for myself. I said there's no way I can get on food stamps, because once I get on food stamps, I'm going to be stuck, because it's very easy to get stuck and never get out of it. And I ripped the food stamp up. I didn't even use it. That's the type of man that I am. So this mob mentality, it ain't going to work on someone like me. It might work on someone, I'm not going to name any names. It might work on other people on city council, but it sure as hell ain't going to work on me.
Right on, man. I mean, you keep things interesting, because I feel like, yeah, you're right. Rochester City Council can sometimes, fall into, they're just so soaked up in, what the national narratives are, even of democratic politics, that, sometimes the local solutions, about improving quality of life, don't always match up with that narrative, and we have to figure out something that works for us here in Rochester. So how do we do that?
Sense. It makes no sense to talk about systemic racism here in Rochester when we have a black mayor, a black police chief, a black fire chief. Oh, now he's Latino. Majority black city council, and 2 Latinos on city council. Where are you being oppressed now? Because if you don't see that you can be whatever you want, when you see that type of leadership in front of you, how are you oppressed? The only thing that's oppressing you is yourself and your own terrible decision-making, and you want to hang out with your buddies on the streets, or you want to be riding around on ATVs and dirt bikes, or you want to be, you can smoke weed all you want. But if you're choosing to smoke weed instead of getting a job, that's a problem, all right? So the only one that's oppressing anybody is yourself and your own limiting beliefs. I just quit my job the other day. The only income I have coming in is city council. We're talking $2,000 a month, all right? I am living in poverty right now. I quit my job because I want to start my own business. I want to show people what it's going to look like to start all over, start my own business from scratch, and do what it is that I got to do for myself to get to that millionaire club. And I'm going to get it done. Within the next year, I guarantee I'll be 6 figures. And I'm showing people exactly how to get it done, and I'm Latino. Okay? I'm Latino. Who is oppressing me? I just oppressed myself. I put myself in terrible, terrible debt and terrible, terrible income. Who can live on $2,000 a month? I'm about to show you. Who can start a business on $2,000 a month? I can show you. I'm doing it. So anyone that says anything bad about Jose Pio and his content of character, you're an idiot.
Wow, man. Tell us how you really feel.
That's it. I'm done with it,
No.
dude. I tell you, I'm coming
Yeah,
out
no,
2021 stronger than 2020.
I love it, and love the hustle. Excited to see what you do with your business idea as well. And but we get to this point too. It's like, okay, are city residents going to ask and expect the same thing of their politicians? And you're right. We do have a black mayor, black police chief, a majority black city council, and if there is still systematic racism in Rochester, well, who's accountable for that? And how do you actually change it? How do you change the actual legal barriers to success in the city?
What legal barriers?
Well, and that's why I would ask. Like, you'd have to identify what that is. Like
Right.
I have issues with, like, is it easy to start a business in the city, to build a new house, to do all these things? But okay, if those are barriers, then let's talk about what the actual solutions are instead of just complaining about the problem. Identify
Exactly.
the specific issue.
Exactly, and that takes networking. It takes knowing the right people, and that's how I know I'm going to succeed, because I know the right people. That's all. It's not because I was city councilman. I became city councilman because I knew the right people. I knew exactly where to go to get my votes. I knew exactly who my voters were, and I spoke directly to them. I know what breaking down a niche is. I know what marketing is. I know what branding is. I'm living that every single day. If you don't know what your brand is, then you don't know who you are. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to live with yourself every day? You're never going to be really anything. You got to be who you are. Just be who you are. And there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be haters. If you don't have haters, you're not doing anything right. I'll tell you that. And you're definitely not going to get rich if you don't have haters.
Yeah, no. Sometimes if you're not upsetting anyone, then maybe you're not disrupting enough to make a
Exactly.
difference, right? That's what it is. All right, so we only have a couple minutes left. Any other kind of last messages that you'd want listeners here at WISL, WACK, and WNY to think about?
I love libertarians because you guys always bring it down to the individual. It's about you, what it is that you do with your life, and how you want it to be. You can go out and do it. It's just there's so many excuses out there, but it always comes back to the individual. There is nothing stopping you. Nothing. I have a mortgage. I have a car payment. I have credit card debt. I have student loans. I'm living on $2,000 a month. There is nothing stopping you from doing what it is that you want to do except for yourself. If you want to buy a home, I was helping people with low income to buy homes with grants, all right? And they still weren't buying homes. There's so many things out there to take advantage of in this city. So many programs in this city that people are sleeping on. Download the Jose Pio app, JOSEPEO. I'm the only politician you know of who has their own app. And on there, it tells you how to get the funding. It tells you what the kid programs are out there. It tells you how to locate anything in the city. You can find it. The information's out there. I'm doing what the city won't do. You should
Love
be
it.
loving me. Right?
All right, no, that is excellent. So thank you so much for joining us in today's show, Councilman Ospio, and lots of positive comments here as well about what you've said, especially in this last segment. So thank you for being here today on A Free Solution.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.
All right, I'll be back on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Forget the fluff and silly stuff. Get the facts right now. Only on